Welcome to Marvel Chumpions Podcast, a podcast about Marvel Champions, the card game. I am your host, Scott, and with me, as always, my co-host, Ryan.
I'm ready to continue with part two.
Part 2. Well, if you haven't listened to part 1, go on back and listen to our part 1 as we talked about the preview of Deadpool, the latest hero announced for Marvel Champions. And like Ryan alluded to, we're now going to have a part 2.
So, Scott, why would we do a part 2 on just a normal hero reveal?
Because they thought they had to be all special with Deadpool and give him his own special aspect.
That's right, a special aspect. What does that mean?
Well, I'm glad you asked. So with Deadpool, they figured that the base 4 aspects just weren't good enough for him. So they had created their own new aspect for Deadpool called the Pool aspect. And it's in your favorite color, Ryan. Pink.
What is this? Is it pink or like a magenta?
See, magenta's more like purple in my opinion. This is definitely pink. I mean, this is like Barbie pink.
Uh-oh.
Or is it Oppenheimer pink? I don't know.
I was going to say, is this like Barbie pool? Are we fusing them together?
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe they're just foreshadowing Gwenpool in the future.
Oh, that's right. That will come, won't it? And you know what? I'm going to call it right now. She's going to be one of the upcoming heroes, and she's going to be in this aspect to get more cards.
Well, that was ultimately, you just completely spoiled my in thing, Ryan, so thanks a lot.
In your face.
Before we get into cards, I guess we'll talk about just the concept of the new aspect and the ups and downs I think that they're going to face with having this aspect. Is, I think, like you said, you're going to have some type of pool adjacent character to try and build out the pool of pool aspect cards. I could see them maybe throwing in a few here and there, but I don't think it's gonna be the kind of standard to see going forward.
Yeah. I figured there would be a 5th aspect at one point. And I know even within the community, some people have made a 5th one already, and it's like a purple, and I think it's called Determination.
Well, that was from when they were developing the game. There was a 5th.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, in one of when they did interviews with Caleb and Michael Boggs and whoever the other original kind of key people were, they created a 5th one, and they just said it just didn't really work. Because each of the aspects try and focus on one kind of key thing, and it didn't really do one thing great. It was just kind of all of them smushed together. So
kind of like this one.
Yeah, exactly like this one.
But yeah, I mean, I figured there'd be a 5th aspect. As the game grows, they've got to change things up.
Gotta spice it up.
But I will say, I guess I have to give credit to them. I was not expecting this.
Yeah, no, I will give you that. It was something I was not expecting.
But they went ahead and did it, and we're here to review it and see if the cards are worth it.
Yeah. So one thing the article did mention that it's going to be a larger card count hero. And
yes.
From the little bit that I've seen people talk about this, no one has pointed out the obvious that it costs as much as a villain scenario pack.
Oh, because it's got that extra.
Because it has more cards. I think they said it has 78 cards. And then if you back out the 7 Deadpool cards, which we'll talk about Deadpool, that leaves 71 cards.
40 of those are specific.
16 of those for Deadpool. Let me get out my handy dandy calculator here.
Someone listening's already done the math.
I need to put in like my 78 minus the 7 minus the 16.
Carry the 2.
55 cards. And then back out.
Divide by
5 cards for his nemesis. That's 50 cards, so he probably has...
It doesn't show a nemesis in this, though, right?
It does not show it, but every hero has a nemesis. And Deadpool doesn't specifically say, because most of those will say it's Deadpool's nemesis down in the description box.
I hope that his nemesis is something that's really fun. Like, it's like his nemesis is out of chips or something like that.
Well, that's his obligation.
Or his obligation.
His obligation is like ran out of chimichanga.
Yeah, yes. And hopefully
or
it's
like
as good
explosive diarrhea.
That would be awesome. You have to sit in alter ego until you can evacuate your bowels to the fullest.
Exhaust to evacuate your bowels.
Yes.
I like it.
You have to heal all the way before you can discard it.
Right.
That would be really funny.
Interesting though, which we'll get to them. Some of these pool cards are limited to max 1 per deck.
There's going to be a lot of unique cards, I feel like, in this pack.
Yeah.
Because of that.
So you'll get some that you can have multiples of, which like a standard thing, but then there's some that are one-offs, or you can only have one, so I assume they're not going to give you more than one, right?
I guess not.
All right. Anything else about the pool aspect?
They're interesting. I mean, we're going to talk about the individual cards, but it's a very interesting aspect. I think for some players, and I feel this way a little bit, is it would be tough for me to play the pool aspect because it's not thematic for everyone else.
Yeah. And that's one thing I think we've talked about is this is an aspect that can be played with any hero. It's not just an aspect to play with Deadpool.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like it's going to be hard to play. Who's the most serious character out there?
Captain America.
Sure, Captain America, and you're playing the pool aspect. It just thematically, it just doesn't feel right. But I think it can be good for the game, just to create variety and fun different combos and whatnot.
I mean, there's people that want to play a Wolverine pool deck, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And I think like the whole premise of it is like it plays off of Deadpool in the kind of push your luck, benefit, risk, reward kind of aspect that he kind of brings to the table. But then he also makes some older cards better.
Yeah. So
he gives his Deadpool. He Deadpoolizes.
Yeah.
Some of them. All right. Well, let's talk about. They show 2 allies. So let's talk about some allies. And I noticed something today that I didn't the first pass.
All right. So which one do you want?
I'll talk about Dogpool.
All right. Go for it.
Dogpool. His name is Wilson. He's a 3-cost ally. He has 0 thwart, 1 attack, no consequentials for either of those. He is part of the Deadpool core, and he has 4 health. He does retaliate 1 and come out with toughness. And when defeated, deal 1 damage to an enemy. And he bring in with him, when he's out in play, he has a acceleration icon.
It's a quick question. Are you ready?
Yep.
I have not thought about this, but because this acceleration icon is technically, it's a symbol on the ally, does it count as basically being on the main scheme for Deadpool abilities?
It does not. So that's actually a bad habit that I see some content creators play. They'll put an actual acceleration token to remind themselves, but it is not an actual token. It's just an icon. And so I think a lot of Deadpool stuff says acceleration token.
Yes. I was trying to find one here. Generate one additional resource for each acceleration token on the main scheme.
So, no, it will not benefit Deadpool with his player cards, but it does benefit Deadpool with his aspect pool cards, which we'll get to.
Sure. Yep.
When defeated, deal 1 damage to an enemy. I guess that's okay. Him kind of one last swing. Retaliate's kind of nice for 1 toughness. Health of 4. He only does 1 attack, so it's not. To me, he's your one to kind of take some chip damage with.
Yep.
Other than that, I don't see anything else special about him.
Yeah. I mean, the no consequential damage is nice.
Yeah.
So acceleration token's not nice, but that's kind of the whole thing. He's got 4 health, he's got retaliate, and no consequential, and he's 3 costs. So there's got to be some type of balancing. Sure. So,
well, I think you'll see the theme of icons with your ally.
Yes. So my ally is Headpool. You heard that right. Headpool. It's a head with a little helicopter helmet. It's a zombie head, I should say.
His name is Wade Shorty Wilson.
Yes. So he is a 3-cost ally for 1 health. Part of the Deadpool core, zombie.
Is this our first zombie traded card?
I think there's a encounter set that might have zombies.
Okay.
2 thwart, 1 attack, no consequential for both. But the attack does have a little star response after Headpool attacks and damages a minion. That minion attacks another enemy of your choice. So that's fun.
I think that's very thematic that he kind of like infects him as a zombie. I think that's funny.
Yeah. And the he does have a little symbol. He has the plus boost symbol. Amplify, which again, rules clarification right here. That is symbols only used when you're drawing a boot for boost. It's not for like the hero can't benefit from it. So I've played that ROM before. I like it. Me personally, I don't mind the Amplify. As an icon, it's not the worst one I've seen. I mean, sometimes it's not great, but it's being able to attack an enemy, hurt it, and then have that enemy attack someone else is pretty great.
That was one thing I don't think we talked much about Deadpool. Like, he only has 1 defense, but his whole thing is not to defend and not take damage. I mean, he doesn't care to take damage because, in essence, he can't die. So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's as big a deal for Deadpool.
Yeah. But I like the ally. I think it works for me. Again, the no consequential makes it very interesting.
Yeah. I think the 1 health can, like, at face value, seem a little concerning, but like you said, no consequential. The only way he's going to die is if you chump block with him, or some, boost ability or villain or minion makes you attack everyone or deal damage to everyone or something like that.
Yep. So I'm down for out of the 2 allies, this is the one I like more.
Yeah. And I assume he's probably going to have 1 or 2 more dead or pool allies.
Yeah, I'm assuming the cards we're seeing now are ones that are more likely in his deck, and there's probably a lot more to come. Like you said, there's a lot of cards that aren't revealed.
Yeah. Well,
so I'm guessing there's quite a few allies. I'm guessing there probably is a Gwen pool and all sorts of pools.
Right.
Yeah, House pool.
You see there's a card that has in the Dreadpool encounter set. There's one that shows off a few potentials. So
Panda pool on that looks like.
Let's talk about an upgrade. 3-cost upgrade, healing factor. It's a superpower, max 1 per player. Response: after the player phase begins, exhaust healing factor, heal 2 damage from your identity. That's kind of sweet.
Yeah.
Now
That's
I'm
awesome.
the best at whatever it is Wolverine does. Which, in essence, that's Wolverine's hero ability at the beginning of the player phase if you're in hero form.
Man.
You do, but this one's just a response, so you don't have to be in hero form, which is nice.
Yeah.
You just have to exhaust it, and then you heal 2 from your identity. So,
man, hooking that up with Wolverine, that'd
right.
be nuts.
Right.
Out of all the cards, this is one of my favorite. Just being able to have a healing card, available to any hero now is pretty great.
Yeah,
consistent healing, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, it's at least once per. That's 2 free per round. That's not bad.
It makes like I guess I can't do leadership decks unless you're, say Spider Woman. But now, like, there's Spider Woman, you could have healing factor and clarity of purpose, and have that energy generation plus healing.
Yeah, it does. I would say this opens up some new opportunities for heroes that play with aspect cards. They can have multiple aspects with their construction, deck construction.
Yep. So, I like this card. I think it's great to be able to add hero abilities onto cards that other heroes can benefit from.
Yeah, it's neat. All right.
Let's see. This one is probably, I think, everyone's gonna love because it fits in the community humor, and that's the 0 cost event, Barely a Scratch. The artwork is a knight and Deadpool with his arms cut off, obviously referencing Monty Python. There is no flavor text on here, so I do think that is a big miss.
Mm-hmm. It's merely a flesh wound.
Yes, yes, something. But fun card for sure. It is a defense card, Hero Interrupt. When you would take any amount of damage from an attack, prevent 1 of that damage for each crisis icon, acceleration icon, amplify icon, and encounter
hazard icon.
Hazard, thank you, in play. So the more you have those in play, the more damage you're preventing, which is kind of plays in that risk reward kind of scenario. But even then, I think that's going to really be helpful for expert players.
Could you imagine like playing that with the campaign card that comes out with Ronin?
Oh my gosh!
Isn't it an expert? There's he's got 4 or 5 of those icons on there.
Yeah, that's what came to mind. That would be nice to have that card for that particular scenario.
Yeah. Well, why don't you, since we're talking about icons, why don't you talk about the player side scheme, since you're the player side scheme guy?
I am the player side scheme guy. This one is 0 cost, Live Dangerously. It's a player side scheme. Artwork is him playing guitar, acoustic with a cowboy hat on railroad tracks, and there's a freight train right behind him. So it is a victory 0. Each identity gets +2 hand size, but it comes in with an acceleration token and a crisis and amplify and hazard, all 4.
Yeah, it has all 4 of those icons.
And then, of course, you have to sing it. The flavor text is, "Nothing can cause me pain, not even an oncoming trip." So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And it is 3. By the way, edit out that singing or auto tune it or something. Come on, help me out here.
I haven't figured that out yet.
It is 3.
Keeping it in.
There you go. 3 threat per player. My thoughts is I don't like it. It's the first player side scheme that I actually don't like.
It's one of those where we get to use that funny phrase, it's kind of expensive. Yes, it's 0 cost, but if you're playing a bigger player size game, that's a lot going on.
I mean, if you're playing a lot more players, it's more manageable, I feel like, to a degree. But to me, the combination of the crisis icon with the other three is what hurts me. And the hand size is nice, but I don't think it's enough to have all four of those. I wish it was like 3 or 4 hand size.
Yeah,
Or,
it's not game changing. Like two plus hand sizes isn't like game changing.
Yeah, I don't think it's game changing enough to deal with all that. Because if you have a crisis icon plus an acceleration, you're kind of stuck. You got to get rid of it quick because you're just going to thread out.
That one's tough. No, I agree with you. It plays against Deadpool because if you can't remove threat off the main scheme and you have multiple acceleration tokens, and it's one of those where like you want to keep it out, because you want that benefit, but the cost is just so high, and it plays against kind of the player side schemes because up to this point, well, obviously I haven't played any player side scheme yet, but the whole thing was just leave it out there, take care of it when you can, and you get a benefit. There's no downside to player side schemes. This is the first one where you see that kind of spun around.
Yeah, and I don't mind keeping that whole. There's a penalty to play these cards. That's fine, but the penalty is too great for the reward, in my opinion. It definitely needs to be like at least +1 hand size for each icon.
That's crazy. The only other way I could see you making it a little more manageable is you remove and make it like 2 threat per person, but then it kind of comes pointless because it's almost like you want to have it out there for as long as you can, and you don't want to get rid of it, but you want to get rid of it because of the downside as fast as you can.
Yeah, specifically that crisis icon's the what bothers me the most. I'd rather have it like 2 encounter cards for 2 hand size.
You would rather see an amplify, an acceleration icon, and a hazard, and no crisis icon, right?
Yeah, because I think the crisis just makes it where it's unusable.
Right.
Because I mean,
it's
you're
unusable
gonna lose
long term. Yeah.
Unless you're in a scenario that can handle a lot of thwart, like your Taskmaster, it just doesn't seem worth it.
I agree with you. That one's
so. I think this is the first side scheme that's a miss.
Yeah, I think it's like a 1 turn and done.
Yeah, which sucks because you put it out and you don't even benefit it because it's like
once you get benefited once.
You get basically once and then you have to get rid of it or you're gonna lose the game.
Right. I mean, I guess it could play a little different in a multiplayer game. You know, maybe you could get like a couple of rounds worth out of it, but
yeah, maybe. Maybe it's hoping you have like your Shadow Cat that can go around it or something like that.
Sure.
Which, if I was playing a 2-player game and I had Shadow Cat, I would be more willing to play this card.
Right.
To be able to go around it and get that +2, that's more reasonable to me. So, I mean, maybe this does work with certain heroes where they can counteract that crisis.
Well, if you are going to play this card and leave it out there, I've got a nice combo that you can play with it.
Oh boy, here we go.
That card is called I Got This. It's a 1-cost event, and it says hero action. If the following icons are on 1 or more cards in play, you do all of the following per icon. So if it's a crisis icon, you deal 3 damage to an enemy. If it's an acceleration icon, you remove 2 threat from a scheme. If it's amplify, you ready an ally you control. And if it is a hazard, you draw 1 card.
I like it.
So if you do have Live Dangerously out, then you play I Got This, you can do all 4 of those.
That is true.
And then if you have those allies out, you get to do each one of those an additional time as well.
That is also very true.
So that is a nice little combo.
There you go. Yeah, I like the card. I think it's helpful. It turns bad things into good things. So
yeah, it kind of benefits you from having those icons out there and they're not as bad. You can at least have some benefit for them being out instead of always being a negative.
Yeah,
which is nice.
Yeah, I think it's a good counterbalance to a lot of these cards. So
yep.
Well, let me do the last new card that no one's ever seen, and then the final three.
Okay.
They're kind of similar to what other people have seen. So the other one is a 2-cost upgrade called Get Good, but the good as in GUD. I always thought it was like Get Good, but I figured out they're saying good.
Get Good, yeah.
Yeah, which I think is probably a little bit of call out to some of the community members that have basically tell people get good.
Yeah.
It's like, well, not everyone has
that problem.
The time and dedication and care to do that. They just want to play a fun game.
Yeah.
But it says reduce the cost to play Get Good by 2 if you did not win your previous game of Marvel Champions. So I think that's a fun Deadpool
I think that's a
thing.
fun little fourth wall break a little there.
And has a force interrupt. When a player would be defeated, they set their hit point dial to 1 and change to alter ego form instead. Remove this card from the game. So it's a nice little checkpoint restart for you.
Yeah, he can turn anybody into a Deadpool in essence.
Yeah, that's nice to have. So
and I guess you could do it to yourself if you're playing in the pool aspect with somebody else, right?
Yeah. I think this could be it's just a nice little backup to some heroes, especially maybe heroes that are a little more squishy.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool. I'm cool with it.
All right. Which one of these 3 events is your favorite?
Probably the justice one.
Okay, then I'll go with the aggression one. So there's a few of these events where they all the text kind of looks like a event from an aspect. So this one it's playing off of the uppercut card, which you deal 5 damage to an enemy in the aspect, aggression aspect. But this one is a 3-cost event in the pool aspect, and he has a thing of masking tape, and he's wrote over the title, and it's cut upper. It's a 3-cost event. It's an attack hero action. Deal 5 damage to an enemy, and then he's added in masking tape, stun that enemy. And instead of being, is that smack? It's squeak. And he has like a extending boxing glove, like a little gun handle thing going on, punching somebody in the face with a boxing glove weapon. And this one is max 1 per deck. So it's like he's taken a aggression card and made it just that much better.
Yeah,
you get deal 5 and stun the enemy. I like it.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a good card.
Cut upper.
Mine is the play off the justice card Great Responsibility, and he's changed it to Not My Responsibility. 0-cost event, and he's eating popcorn out of his mask, so that's fun. And it's a interrupt, no longer a hero interrupt, when any amount of threat would be placed on a scheme, and then it crosses out you take. It says you or your ally takes it as damage instead. So it's a way to do alter ego and for your allies to take the brunt. So,
and it says on a scheme, so you could negate a side scheme?
Yes. In certain side schemes. So for schemes that are not. It's like not in the little box. If it's additional from the text, you can block those.
Right. So it would come out with an amount that's not really placed on it. Right?
Yeah. So cards that say that
place an additional
place an additional one
minion that's cow or something. Right.
Those you can block from. I'm pretty sure those are ruling, and I think was the ones you can prevent.
So it couldn't prevent the starts with
correct
amount, but it could prevent any additional placement. Okay.
Yeah. But to me this almost makes a scheme version of tough with your allies. You can have like an ally with 1 health, and if you put 4 on the main scheme, you could essentially
assigning
kill
all 4
that
to the ally, even if they don't have the health for it.
I don't know. Can you?
It doesn't say.
When any amount of threat would be placed on the scheme, you or your ally takes it as damage instead. So
it does have to be taken.
So if you, if it was dealt to the ally,
right?
If 4 was dealt, they can take all of it.
But
if it takes, then they have to take according to their health.
Right amount. Right.
Okay.
Now I would grim rule it in that way, that they would actually have to take the damage. If they couldn't take the damage, it couldn't be applied to it.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost. So eventually, we're gonna get a scheme version of tough.
Yeah.
One day.
All right. Any last thoughts?
And it's also one per deck.
Yeah. All these events are 1 per deck. All right. Then I will follow up with the leadership play on the leadership Get Ready, which is Get Ragey, and it's a 0 cost event. Action, ready an ally, and then Deadpool's added the additional. That ally gets +1 attack until the end of the phase. You call that a pull-up, and that's Sergeant Deadpool.
Yeah, they took the actual art, and I think it's Maria Hill.
And it's like a shield, agent that's trying to climb, and this time it's like Hydra Bob.
Yeah, I think it is Hydra Bob.
And he's on top of the wall, pointing at him as Sergeant Deadpool.
I didn't use Get Ready very often, but I think this helps it out to make it more useful for certain hero or certain allies.
Yeah, you make Headpool attack a minion twice, and that minion attacks another enemy twice.
Oh yeah, that combo with Deadpool would be great.
Yeah.
It seems like these cards definitely have a lot more combo-ness than the other 4 aspects. I mean, they all combo, but it seems like these have some, because of the nature of it being good and bad. There's more combos that are available.
Yep. All right, Ryron. Did you think that you would get off with just playing the pool aspect for free?
Oh, I wish.
So did you read that part in the article?
Yes, I read it. It says that if you play the pool aspect,
if at least 1 player is using the pool aspect.
Yes, then you have to put in the treachery card from the Deadpool encounter set, I guess. It has to be an encounter set.
Right.
Crisis of Infinite Deadpools. And basically you just put this 1 card in the deck, and it's almost like a second Shadows of the Past, but specifically for this encounter set. And so when you reveal it, it says reveal the set aside Deadpool minion and Dreadful Deeds side scheme. Shuffle the rest of the set aside Deadpool encounter set into the encounter deck. Remove this card from the game.
So it's like a Deadpool Shadow of the Past.
Yep.
So and we don't know this for sure. This could be on addition to a regular Shadows of the Past. We don't know for sure.
I'm gonna guess it's an addition.
I would too. I like this card. It has like a panda pool, has like a Wolverine pool, a spiral pool.
The claws on that Wolverine pool are huge.
They're like swords. Lady pool. Oh, that's funny. That panda pool's cracking me up.
There's like a weird like baby in the background. It's like a baby
like a watcher looking
watcher.
Uatu. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. All right.
So tell me, who is this Dreadpool?
Dreadpool. I mean, I don't know him from comic lore, but I assume he's probably some Deadpool that's trying to kill all the Deadpool in the multiverse or something.
Sounds about right.
But he's got a sweet, like, all black Deadpool suit. Kind of reminds me of, like, Michael Keaton's Catwoman.
I mean, isn't that Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yeah. I mean, she is MCU. It's like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon here.
There it is.
All right, so Dreadpool is a minion, 2 scheme, 2 attack, 3 health, assassin, and elite. Dreadpool engages the first player. When defeated, deal Dreadpool to the player who defeated him as a face-down encounter card. What I do for the cause, but I still feel bad about it, usually. And he has 3 boost icons.
Now, I have to admit, I haven't really actually read these cards, so this is kind of a first time I've seen this, and ouch.
That's bad. Yeah, so in essence, he stays out all the time. And I think that's why he only has 3 health.
Yes.
But if you were playing a multiplayer and somebody got him and you had like a spycraft and you were playing Justice, you could hypothetically get rid of him.
Yeah.
There's some other cards that get rid of treacheries too.
Yes.
Grappling Hook from Black Widow. She could do it.
Yeah, there's certain cards you can get away from.
Oh no, he's not a treachery. You couldn't do it.
No. There's certain cards that can I believe get around them, but it's very few and far between.
Yeah. It's gonna be the exception. Most time he's gonna be out just being a pain the entire game.
Yeah, that's exactly what he is. He's just a pain the entire game.
Yeah. All right.
So,
do you like side schemes? I know this isn't a player side scheme. Why don't you tell us about Dreadful Deeds?
Dreadful Deeds. It's Dreadpool hunting down all the Deadpools. And it says, or it's 2 threat. Comes in with 2 threat. And then it says, when revealed, place 2 threat here for each player who controls 1 or more pool. Pink. Well, there you go. They are pink. It's official.
Yep.
Cards.
Magenta.
And then it has the amplify icon. So it's not a terrible side scheme. So it basically is going to be 4. In probably most games, it'd be a 4 threat. But
not terrible.
Cool.
3 boost icons. I think that's probably the worst thing about it.
Yeah. But it's not one that I'm scared of.
No. All right, 2 more cards. Do you want the attachment? Oh, they're both attachments. Epic Veil. Do you want the
I'll take the weapon.
Okay. Then I'll start with the other attachment. So it's poolized. I assume when it so when revealed, attached to the ally with the highest cost without poolized attached. Otherwise, this card gains surge. And what happens to it is you treat attached ally as a pool minion with a blank text box. Attached minion scheme is equal to its printed thwart, and it does not take consequential damage. And it has a picture of X-23 poolized and Angel poolized. Interesting. So just one of those take your ally and make it a minion kind of cards.
Attached to a minion with the highest cost without poolized.
Attached to an ally.
Yes.
So if you have no
as a
allies, you
pool
just gain surge.
minion.
And you change it into a pool minion.
Yeah. That
it kind of works like what are the enchantments from like the Enchantress and things like that.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
We've seen it before.
It's just a roadblock. Yep.
And then the last one is a weapon called Anti-Regeneration Ray. It gives the whoever it's attached to +1 attack, and you can attach it to the priority is attach it to Deadpool. Otherwise, attach it to the villain. It is a force interrupt. When attached character attacks a non-villain character, treat the attacked character's text box as if it were blank, except for traits, until the end of the attack. Hero action. Spend the 3 resources that are energy, mental, physical. Spend those resources, attach this card to your identity. I didn't read that. That's new.
Man. Yeah, this is the one I was talking about, how you can blank out Deadpool's text box if Deadpool had it and was attacking. Or the villain in that case.
Yeah, so Deadpool could take out him with that.
Yeah.
But if you do hero action, spend that resource, attach this card to you, so you gain it.
So you gain it, you get a +1, and it's not going to go away, because it's not like if you get a caught off guard, it's not a support, it's not an upgrade, it's an attachment,
and it's a weapon. The force interrupt works for you because it says when attacking characters that are non-villain
characters. So you could do that to minions. Oh, so you could blank. That's how you blank out Deadpool's box.
That's how you blank out Deadpool.
Oh, okay.
Look at that. We're learning right here, right now, folks. This is quality content.
Live
at my computer. I think without reading that hero action, I thought, okay, it's just like another weapon, but having that makes this a lot cool. This is my favorite card so far.
Yeah. I do like how it does kind of add like a little bit of fun to this encounter set. Everything we've kind of seen is kind of negative, kind of Debbie Downer, but that's a little ray of sunshine there for me.
I wonder if there's going to be like a thwart version of this card. There might not be, but I really like that. That kind of gets me a little jazzed.
Yeah, no, I like that. It's kind of sweet.
Well, cool. Yeah, man, that's a great one to end on. All right, what are your thoughts? I mean, we kind of already talked about it, but hit me again.
I think it's going to be wild. It's going to be a non-traditional game of Marvel Champions with just madness occurring everywhere.
Yeah.
But
I think
if that's your thing.
That's your thing. I really think adding another aspect is going to be great for the game as a whole. I don't know if I would say this is the aspect that I was hoping for, but there are some cool cards in here that I think can really change heroes. And we're just getting a small amount of what they're going to be putting out. So I'm guessing there's going to be quite a bit of these other aspect cards redubbed kind of thing. Because they're all like max 1 per deck. So I can see them having a ton of these different, and none of these are protection. So there's a protection one, and it'll be fun to see these other cards and what they do to them. So I'm excited. I think I'm more excited for the aspect barely than Deadpool, just so I can see the different combos you can do with the heroes.
All right, I got one final question for you.
Okay.
So you're playing Deadpool. You're not going to play the pool aspect. Which one of the 4 aspects are you going to play with Deadpool?
good question. Now, I'm always partial to Justice, and I think Justice plays into the acceleration token concept. So I think Justice naturally makes people kind of go towards that. But let me see here. I'm trying to do a quick scan of his cards, because his cards seem very self-sufficient. Like he doesn't need an aspect to make him better. But yeah, probably Justice. And
I think Justice it's gonna help balance his acceleration tokens. You can play It Ain't Over plus the Justice Van and increase the threshold significantly.
I think Justice really kind of fits out of the four the best. Being able to maybe confuse the villain and being able to flip down and heal, so you don't have to do the acceleration if you don't want to, or just prep for a big turn with his ability. I think that's pretty nice. But I think you could probably find a pretty solid one with all of them. I think Protection might be the one that you'd have to do a non-protection build. Non-defense protection build.
Because he wants to take the damage, right?
Yeah. So I could see him doing maybe something else with readying or something with protection.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah, Deadpool, November.
It's here. It's finally happened. Now people can stop posting on Facebook. I'm just kidding.
Well, the only other thing like I worry about is, at the beginning of this year we had such a long hiatus from anything. I worry we're not going to get anything till like late fall. At least like maybe like October. We're not going to hear about the next Xbox for months.
Yeah, I could see that.
If you've noticed, they've only been releasing their big boxes in August to like coincide with Gen Con. And if we get done with this cycle in November and we have to wait like 9 months for another wave, that's gonna hurt, man.
I don't think that's gonna happen, because they've had the current crew consistent for the last little bit.
No, I did hear that. I heard that some of this extended time was, because it was like 2 years ago when they were doing the transition out of Fogs and in with Tony Fanchi, and I don't know. I just worry about a long hiatus again, because I'm dying to play this new stuff.
Yeah, it's a shame that we're not gonna get. We have all these cards, but we're gonna get Next Evolution, and then we have to wait, and then we get Angel and Psylocke, and then we have to wait.
Luckily, that's not too bad. It's a month, so you'll have 4 characters to play within a month of each other, and then it'll just be a couple months to get Deadpool in X-23.
Yeah.
I guess on a final closing note, they did tell us about their next OP kit, which will drop around the same time as X-23 and Deadpool in November. And then we get to hear about not being able to get those for a lot of people.
Well, hopefully our place will get them, and we can try to host again and get some of them.
That'd be nice. They previewed the Deadpool art, alternate art, the Psylocke like full art.
I like that Psylocke one. I think that's a good one.
Psylocke too. It's sweet.
Yeah.
And then instead of being hero dials this time, it's just gonna have a ton of Deadpool acceleration tokens that you can sprinkle all over your game.
Nice.
So yeah, looking forward to it. I think it'll be good.
Yeah, it'll be fun for sure. So yeah, good stuff. It was good to get a lot of this stuff. So
yeah, I think the game's in a healthy place. I mean, knowing that you've got like 3 or 4 big like teams still out there that they haven't even touched yet is,
yeah.
I mean, we're looking at, a few more years, good years. So,
yeah.
the game's alive and well.
We'll have to do an episode on that. Some predictions.
Ooh, our predictions of the next box. And then maybe in the wave after that.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. All right. Well, if you want to tell us about your thoughts on the pull aspect, some cards you're maybe looking forward to, maybe a combo that you are excited to play with, or maybe a hero that you want to pair with the pull aspect, let us know at marvelchumpionspod@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to talk about that and get our opinion on those things. Again, we appreciate everybody listening. And as always, if you want to go from a chump to a champ, listen to the Marvel Chumpions Podcast. Thanks.
Stay Deadpool.
Nothing can cause me pain, not even an oncoming